Right, we're talking French teams in the Champions Cup now on FR UK Rugby. Hit subscribe, give the video a thumbs up, leave your comment down below. Joe Worsley is there in his brief stash in the stadium, looking nice there, Joe.
Sun's out, bit frozen, but that's one of the good things about France, especially towards the south. Sun even in January.
Lovely. Sun's out, no guns out at the moment. You'll have to stay tuned for another video for that one. But let's talk about Champions Cup then. So the French teams, as we stand, we've had 3 rounds of games. We're waiting for round 4, and you can make the assessment dead easily that not only are some French teams dominating the pools, every single French team has something to play for this weekend, and you would imagine most of them, potentially all of them, are going to qualify for the round of 16.
Yeah, it's been an interesting Europe. I mean, we've all talked about the financial strength of the top 14. It's beginning to reflect itself in the results, I think, and we've seen that in Europe.
Yeah, because let's just start with some of the teams that haven't done so well in recent years. Stade Français are in with a shout after a win at the weekend. Castres have won both of their home games, continuing their strong home form. They're probably going to be in the hat for the round of 16. Is it just a financial clout, or is it a mentality shift, do you think, from the French teams and their approach to this competition?
It's multifactorial. I think these teams before would have been putting out a second team, which to an extent they're doing, but the squads are so much deeper and richer in the top 14 now. Even a backup team, is pretty good. They're not rotating quite as much because they got performance leaders who are doing really good jobs at each club, and also they're pretty more consistent when it even comes to playing away from home. There's been a couple of blowouts where they've sent their second team and the attitude's not been right, but on the whole, they've been competitive. The squads are deeper, the performance side's better, and very rarely do teams have that emotional plummet that maybe we saw in French rugby 10 years ago as a more common occurrence.
I think also the fact that, and I think most teams are doing this unashamedly now, picking their first choice team at home and just thinking we'll pick up our home wins and job done, which is kind of the Champions Cup's become very French in that fashion.
Well, especially when you got to travel from South Africa or to South Africa, that's a game changer. Yeah, I think we could talk. The format of the European Cup is a factor, which it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a factor in who gets through. It should be the best teams. But yeah, I think there's a little bit of an effect to the style of competition that's affecting the results.
Can you explain why Racing 92 are such a basket case at the minute, though?
Again, we could probably do a whole episode on that. It's an incredible club, incredible history, incredible stadium, good group of players, good coaching staff. It's just at the moment they're not quite aligning everything right so it works, unfortunately, and that happens in sport, which is why we love sport.
Stade Français can get through if they beat the Bulls. Just quickly, do you think they will send a strong team away to South Africa, or they'll just dial it in?
They're not. Well, they're in the lower half. Well, they're in the relegation zone, not far off that, in top 14. Now, I don't think they'll be there going forward. So they're in a bit of a dogfight. I don't think there's no way you can compete for the Champions Cup unless your squad's flying, you're playing well, and the depth of your squad's good. There's factors there. I think they're going to concentrate on the top 14. So maybe they'll qualify for the last 16, but I don't see them going beyond that.
If they send the bin juice to Pretoria, I'm not sure they will, but we'll see. Lots to play for. So we'll have a bit of a bigger picture on whether that whole French strength of the top 14 is reflected, I guess, after next weekend. But one thing we can say is that Toulouse and Bordeaux are not just in the round of 16 already, they are clear favourites, among the favourites to win the tournament. But Toulouse in particular have been a bit stitched up by the format, Joe.
Yeah, I mean, they could have an away fixture there, so that will make life tougher for them. But also, they're probably playing the weakest of the best qualifiers, so, and they're Toulouse. I think they could go. That'll be something that inspires them to go and do something, I'd imagine. It just means it's more hassle in terms of, in a busy schedule, having to travel again, as opposed to playing at home would be a bit of an arse for them. But these French clubs, Toulouse and Bordeaux especially, are ahead of the rest in the top 14. That's really reflected in the European Cup. But it's not just them, the other teams are winning. I think English, French direct competition between the two clubs is currently 8-4, and if it goes on the form book at the weekend, there'll be 11 French victories to 5 English victories. It's quite. It's becoming a little bit of a gap there between the two nations.
I know Toulouse won't, make excuses or have any complaints, but the fact that they will win all their games and handsomely, and yet finish second in their pool, just mainly because they had to go to South Africa and Bordeaux host the Sharks, it sort of points out another flaw in the format.
Yeah, I think there's plenty of people have commented on the format of this competition, and it doesn't quite work. There must be a way of finding an easier solution to having less games but a shorter competition, yet maintaining integrity, which means you don't have the same situation we're having there.
But if things pan out as I expect them to, where Bordeaux are the top seeds in qualification and Toulouse are the top of the second tier, so the fifth seeds, means they would, if they win their knockout games, play each other in a semi-final. Just how big an occasion would that be in France if that were to happen?
That'd be epic, because obviously those two are the hot favourites for getting to the final this year in the top 14. I think a game like that is mouth-watering. It'd be an incredible semi-final.
Well, we'll have to wait and see if that actually pans out that way, obviously. But one thing we can say is happening at the end of the month is the Six Nations. And I think we could probably, if they're fit, say that Gregory Aldrit will be the number 8 for France. He's come right back into form with La Rochelle, not least at the weekend against Leinster.
Yeah, certainly. In the European Cup, he's stepped up and come back to... We knew carries, tackling, high actions. He's been really good.
He really has. We also know that Charles Olivon, who was sort of on the bench, but then came back in November and played really, really well starting. Actually started at number 8, didn't he, in the game he played particularly well in. But I don't know who the flanks are going to be for France with Olivon being out. I just assumed that Francois Cross would be one of them, and that then that other flank spot is up for grabs. So this is your area of expertise, Joe. Take us through it.
Yeah, so you can have Miafu, Flamand probably. So you got one jumper there. You're going to have someone in the back row who can be a line-out forward and do the rest of the job pretty well. So you got Ruma, who did a really good job in November, came through. Athletically, he's not a touch on everyone else, but he's so intelligent about how he plays rugby, and he can run a line-out and boss it well. So he was fantastic in November. He's been injured, but he's coming back soon. I think they might pick him. And then you got Aldrit, and then you need more muscle after that, I'd say. You have to go for your muscle. So there, in terms of muscle, power hitting, power carrying, you got Gillon, Cross, and Bourdon. So you got 3 players there. One of them's going to be playing. Now, Gillon was first choice before he got injured. I think I would still pick him. I think Bourdon's been really good as well, so he could be taking that spot. Kroos played really well at the weekend as well, but he's getting on. At some point, one of those other two is going to replace him, but we have to wait and see.
Wow, that's a big call. As I said, I just assumed Francois Kroos would take the second spot, but I hadn't really factored what you were talking about with Miafu. The consequence of Miafu, for all of his incredible strength, is you do need a proper jumper in that back row.
Yeah, I mean, you could get away. Gillon's not too bad in the lineup. He can do a job, so you could put him in instead. But instead of Ruma, and then you've got a more physical back row. So that's a possibility as well.
So your back row, just to be clear, your back row is
I think
Aldrit
it would be
8.
Ruma, Aldrit, and Gillon. Maybe Bourdon.
Wow. Yeah, a line out man, a smash fiend, and an all-round player at number 8. They've got great options. What's the expectation for France in this competition? They have to go away to Dublin in that first game. That is the first game, isn't it? Oh yeah, no, sorry.
Yeah, they got the opening match, haven't they? Yeah.
No. Maybe it's the last game actually. I can't remember. I can't remember when they play them, but they have to go to Dublin and they have to go to Twickenham.
Yeah, it's I think people are very excited about it. It'd be fascinating to see that game in Dublin. That'd be an eye opener, wouldn't it?
That'd be something else. Right. Okay. Who would you pick in your French back row? Let us know in the comments. Round 4 of the Champions Cup is coming up, and we'll be reflecting on the French teams and their qualification or not in that one, and loads more other content coming besides. So make sure you hit subscribe and let us know in the comments what you reckon.